What does it mean to be a vampire survivor? There's walking, there's dodging, there's copious amounts of projectiles just shooting from your body, just endless. Walking is an ancient practice since the dawn of standing up, and it has been gradually perfected over the years. Many have sought to be masters of the art, but rarely reach true greatness. The few who do are known as the vampire survivors. If Death Stranding introduced us to the first Strand-type game, Vampire Survivors introduced us to the first Strand-type lifestyle. Strand life, if you will. Death Stranding walked so that Vampire Survivors could also walk in a more fun way. What is this, that Vampire Survivors game? It looks like a guy is just slowly walking away from some bats. He's not walking. He's expertly using bipedal motion and inertia to generate distance from oncoming threats while his weapons destroy them. Dude's walking. Is he even pressing any buttons? That's not the point. You don't need to press buttons in order to destroy hordes of the undead. Yeah, last time I checked, you can't just destroy the undead by WASDing all day. Okay, let me put some creases in your smooth brain so you can comprehend the wonders of the Strand-type lifestyle. Strand lifestyle, if you will. Here we go. Vampire Survivors is a pretty basic roguelike. Every run is a 30-minute gauntlet where you fend off swarms of mobs. And at the end, you get your face kicked in by Death himself, so it is what it is. You can purchase character buffs in between runs. There are dozens of characters to unlock. But most importantly, Vampire Survivors is about movement and positioning. The things that dictate your movement and positioning are your arsenal of weapons. You get 12 item slots, 6 for weapons and 6 for relics that give you buffs. Now these are all upgradable by using your sheer will to absorb gems. Every weapon has a different pattern of attack. The whip attacks horizontally. The wand fires at the closest enemy. King Bible does a little circular pattern around you. When you start adding more and more of these weapons, it creates unique areas of attack around you. A layered set of AoE and DPS and GDP and GPS. The actual use of these weapons are on autopilot, so you can just focus on your movement and positioning. What, so it's like chess? No. Okay, so then why is it so addicting, as they say? Because of all the candy. There's eye candy, there's ear candy, there's Strand-type candy. Strandy, if you will. Now, the crazy thing about this game is that on paper, it reads like a very simple and maybe even boring roguelike. But because of the candy, the teeth-rotting, gum-clogging, need-to-be flossing candy, the game is incredibly satisfying. The devs did an almost sinister job at designing the game to give you injections of dopamine through the sound design, through the visuals, the mechanics, all rapid firing at your neurons until you look like a mummy melded into a slot machine chair next to the dirty bathrooms in a Vegas casino. Now, a great example of this are the treasure chests. If you defeat an elite enemy, it drops a treasure chest. When you pick it up, it rolls for a chance of upgrading either 1, 3, or the rare chance of 5 of your items. And boy, does it activate my weak little monkey brain when I start hearing that music. Just listen to this. Look at the pretty lights. I look at the sprite work pyrotechnics just flittering on the screen. Coins just exploding out of that chest. If they added even one more drop of dopamine into this equation, it'd probably make you jingle jangle in your pants. Now this all seems pretty routine, but each weapon has an evolved state if you max out its upgrades and pair it with the correct relic. It's like pairing the proper G Fuel with the right flavor of top ramen. It enhances your experience and therefore evolves your experience. When your weapon evolves, it gives it an even more powerful boost and makes it feel like you're breaking the game. Pretty soon you'll have a few evolved weapons and you'll be melting hundreds and hundreds of mobs in a kaleidoscope of colorful sprite work and dancing particles. It is a spectacle to behold. When the over-the-top and electric visuals of the weapons just start creating such visual chaos that you start dropping frames, that's how you know. It's a good game. And when you're just blasting through these mobs, you get a similar sort of satisfaction like when you have a dirty crumb and cat litter infested floor, and you sweep that biz up. It's fresh, it's clean, and you can walk your Play-Doh soft little feet all over it and not pick up any more crumbs and have to walk over to the carpet and brush that junk off. It's the same sort of satisfaction as mowing the lawn and looking at how clean and level that is. But that's poo-poo. That's gross. That's child labor. The satisfaction is marred by the fact that you're doing chores. So Vampire Survivors takes that satisfaction and injects it into the dopamine squirting feedback loop. Instead, you're sweeping up skeletons. You're mowing over freaking merman monsters. And that feels so much better than doing chores or anything actually productive and worthwhile. The one nitpick I have about Vampire Survivors, though, are its enemy types and stages. You can make the argument that they don't change up the game that much, just marginally. While there are dozens of different enemy types, your approach to defeating them doesn't really change that much. If anything, they just have varying degrees of health, speed, or maybe they shoot a projectile. Similarly, the stages don't change things up a ton, just kind of more of the general shape of the whole area. And maybe it might add an interactable set piece or two. A lot of the times when you're playing, you might just end up walking in circles so you can collect the gems if you're fallen enemies. And so it might not even matter what the map is shaped like. However, they just dropped the Legacy of the Moonspell DLC, and I think the devs are starting to address some of these potential drawbacks. They added new characters and weapons, which is great, but they added a new map that has very unique areas. And the cool thing is that some of the enemy types can change depending on where you are in the map. It starts to give the game a little bit more of the variability that it could use from its stages. Along with that, they added new relics that have two components to them. And in every stage, these items are placed on the opposite sides of the map, so it incentivizes you to actually move around the map more. And this actually got me into some interesting predicaments that I never experienced playing the game before. But again, I just want to be clear, that's just a nitpick of mine. I have sunk many hours into this game, but the fact that they're already working on spicing things up is just really great. This new DLC really demonstrates what Vampire Survivors can become in the future. And it's very promising, especially when the game and its current DLC is less than $10. It's less than $10. You'd actually be losing money if you didn't buy it. Vampire Survivors has really simple and familiar bones, but has new exciting layers of flesh that would make Dahmer just... That wasn't a good joke. This is also the perfect kind of game you can just zone out to, or watch like a Twitch stream in the background. It's casual, you don't have to pay too much attention, but it's still fun, and it titillates your little dopamine sensories. Okay, yeah, it seems pretty cool. So when did the vampires come into play? Get the frick out of here, man. Gosh, okay, geez, man, relax.